Hi everybody, Dave Sullivan here for the MMLA Membership Committee with
Kim Alexander, President of Michigan Mortgage Lenders Association and Chief Compliance Officer from Towne Mortgage.
Allan Daniels, Chairman of the State of Michigan Mortgage Industry Advisory Board.
Howard Lax of Bodman PLC.
Yes,
Mroz
with
the Department of Insurance and Financial Services.
you with
Audrey Acquisti.
Audrey. You're with MSource.
Correct, MSource Trading and
How long have you had that company?
We opened MSource back in 2006. So
Okay.
we are a trading NMLS approved trading company and an auditing firm and consulting as well.
Well, thanks for being part of the compliance seminar we have going on with the MMLA today. What one problem do you find most of your clients having, or what's something that what is their biggest pain point?
Okay, I think one thing that we're seeing on the auditing side with regards to what has transpired with QM and the ATR, not necessarily points and fees issues, but we're seeing lack of disclosure or lack of proof in the file.
Okay.
An example of that would be, proof in the file that the lender provided the list of home ownership counseling to the applicant. So that's one thing that we aren't seeing as much as we would like and should be in the file as well. Another thing that we aren't finding as often is the lock, an actual lock form or something in the file, some proof in the file of when that loan was locked so that we can look up for the APOR.
Okay, so it's really, they're not quite there on the documentation. Which is...
I would say would be the documentation.
Okay, good.
Okay, appraisal is another issue that we've run across.
Okay.
Is actually proving a document in the file that proves when that appraisal went to the applicant within that 3-day period of receiving that. So another thing.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of CFPB news lately about violations and how they're handling those. It's really more of a reactive kind of a policy than proactive, would you say?
I think it's both proactive and reactive. Where we're seeing some of the publicity is on the reactive things. They're well-publicized, highly publicized enforcement actions that are intended to send a chilling effect upon industry to behave or get out. And I think the costs of complying are going up. What we're seeing with the CFPB is a new type of regulator that we've never seen before. They're well-funded and aggressive. They're a hybrid industry watchdog, lobbyist, politician, and policing authority that one must learn to both fear and respect. How's that?
That was good. Kim, thanks for coming out today and being part of the panel for the compliance event. We have over 170 people registered. We're very excited about that. What's the number one thing that you kind of struggle with or that you think most people are struggling with from a compliance perspective right now?
I think that, practical application of the regulations, having a clear understanding as there's not a lot of clarity in the regulation, of course.
Right.
And then, having the cure provisions, really. So we're not perfect. The expectation shouldn't be that we're perfect, and historically has not been. And having, seeing the CFPB come out with some ability to cure is positive, but we're hoping to see a lot more of that. So I think those will be the questions that we hear today.
Okay, great. So when do you think they'll come out with those announcements at CFPB?
We're hearing they're coming soon. So we've already seen one come out from the Till rule in regards to points and fees cures.
Okay.
So we're hoping to see a lot more.
Great. Holly, thanks for coming out again. You were here a few years ago. You missed last year. Now you're back again. What's one point that you would like to share with everybody who is audited from a state perspective that really they're tripping up on, or the things that they could improve to better comply with the audit?
I would have to say my biggest tip for you would be to keep your policies and procedures in mind all the time. When you're reading the new laws, when you're trying to come into compliance with some of the new federal regs, reviewing some of the old laws just to make sure you're in compliance, keep those policies and procedures in mind and make sure you're documenting what you're doing to show that you are in compliance with the law. Documentation of your compliance is huge.
And has laws changed? Some people are feeling like they need to copy the laws at those times and include them with the group of loans that were originating at that time. Would you recommend that or no? Is that really not necessary?
It may be beneficial for you and your company to keep old copies of regulations and laws around just so you have easy access to them.
Okay.
But most of them can be found through historical search.
Okay, good. Is there anything else that you would tell people who fall in compliance? Is there any one other point you'd like to make for them to better comply?
be proactive when it comes to the changes, take the steps that you can to have that information at your fingertips. Join your associations, give the email updates, visit your regulators' websites, do the webinars, just really be proactive on staying on top of it.
Howard, thanks for being a panelist today at our compliance forum here in Novi. I think the crowd really got a lot out of it. What is one thing that kind of came up that you wanted to share with the audience, who the people who weren't allowed or weren't able to be here, that you wanted to share with them?
Well, I think it's very important that everyone understand how much work still needs to be done. And of course, the new regulations, the new integrated disclosures coming out in 2015. There's just a tremendous amount of work still to be done on the regulations that came out in January. There are deficiencies in the regulations in terms of understanding some things that we need to know. And then there are a lot of misconceptions, urban myths, if you will, about what the regulations mean and how to implement them.
Yeah, and we're still kind of looking back at the new GFE, really, the compliance on that. And there's a whole nother set of things that is coming up next year that we have to worry about as well, the combined disclosure.
Yes, that's true. The GFE has been very difficult for loan officers to deal with. It's more or less forcing people to go to centralized processing, centralized review, increased compliance. And as the new integrated disclosure starts to be implemented, people will find that it's that much more complex, requires that much more training, and it will lead to even more expense in the compliance area. Hopefully, it'll be better for the industry in the long run.
Yeah, well, if we all survive, it'll be wonderful. I think that if people make good faith efforts and learn as much as they can, don't you think that that's really the only way they can protect themselves?
Well, I think they want to do their best, but as I said, the expectation is perfection.
Yeah.
But it's easy to make a mistake. We're all human, and we are going to make a mistake or stub our toes, as I said before. But the thing to remember is that with the Dodd-Frank powers, there's consumers that have private causes of action, even at defending a foreclosure. So even if your regulator goes easy on you, consumers and their counsel may not.
Oh, okay. So you still may wind up in court.
You may end up in court, and it may cost you a small fortune.
Right. Allan, thanks so much for coming out. We really do appreciate it. Is there any way that people can reach out to you?
Yeah, they're welcome to call me. My office number is 248-335-6166. That's 248-335-6166. Or Allan, spelled A-L-L-A-N, Daniels, D-A-N-I-E-L-S, @gmail.com.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep. Great. Well, Holly, thanks again for coming out. We really appreciate it. Thanks for coming out and being part of the panel.
Thank you.
Holly, we really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Howard, how can they reach out to you if they want to get in contact with you?
Okay, it's Bodman PLC. We're located in Troy on Big Beaver. You can send me an email at hlax@bodmanlaw.com or call me by telephone, 248-743-6011.
Great.
That's a direct dial.
Good. Thanks again, Howard.
Thank you very much.